Namaste and welcome again to this course on Introduction to Basic Spoken Sanskrit. We've been looking at the different declensions so far, or the different vibhaktis. In today's lecture, which is lecture number 13, we are going to look at the accusative case, or also known as the second case, or in Sanskrit the Dvitiya Vibhakti. So today's lesson is really an introduction to the accusative case or the second case. The objectives of this particular session will be to learn the forms and word endings for the accusative or the second case for all the three genders, for nouns as well as pronouns, as we have been doing in our previous sessions. Secondly, to understand the different contexts in which it is used. And then we'll do a brief revision of the verbs that we've seen, because you've been introduced to a few more verbs in our previous sessions now. And then to learn a few more verbs so that you have a bigger vocabulary of verbs. And then finally, it will be to practice the conjunctions that we had briefly looked at, like ch, which means and also api, which is also, and also to learn this new word, the new words like please, avashyam, etc. So, this is the definition of the accusative or the karma karaka, which literally means the object case, and more simply it is known as the Dvitiya Vibhakti, which literally translates as the second case. Now, the definition is the accusative case or Dvitiya Vibhakti of noun form represents the what or whom of the sentence. In other words, the accusative case represents the object or karma in the sentence. Now, what does that mean in a simpler sense? Would be that if I said, I eat an apple, then what is the verb? The verb is eat, and the question with the verb is eat what? So, the answer to that is the object, and that here is the accusative, will be given the accusative case and also the karma karaka. Now, this is the first simple rule and most widely used application of the second case. So, it says that in the active voice sentences, the object is always in the accusative case. So, we will look at some nouns in the second case in the masculine, feminine and neuter. So, chashakaha, chashakaha asti, aham chashakam sthapayami means I place it, or aham chashakam swikaromi, I accept. Chashakaha asti, chashakam swikaromi, I accept, or chashakaha asti. I'll give you a few alternatives. Chashakaha asti, chashakam pashyami, I see the glass. Chashakam pashyami, chashakaha chashakam. So, this is the action that I do to associate it with the second case, that I see it. So, the object of my seeing is the second, it would be in the second case. So, chashakaha asti, chashakam pashyami. Kam pashyami, chashakam pashyami. Now, chamasaha asti, chamasam pashyami. Chamasaha, chamasam. Purushaha asti, purusham pashyami. Balakaha asti, balakam pashyami. Vrikshaha, tree. Vrikshaha asti, vriksham pashyami. Alright. Now, like I said, this question, if you look at the screen now, is used for the question what or whom. So, what are you seeing? I see the tree, I see the glass, that is vriksham, chashakam. Whom do you see? I see the man, so purusham pashyami. We are looking at the masculine initially. And here I have got to whom, to what. So, that is also because there are some words, some verbs like to speak, vadami. Vadami, so means to speak. So, speak to whom? So, purushaha asti, purusham vadami. Purushaha asti, purusham vadami. Chhatraha or student asti, chhatram vadami. Kam vadami, whom do I speak to? To whom do I speak? Chhatram vadami. So, you understand why that to what or to whom is given there. So, let us look at some masculine words. So, chashakaha, chashakam, chamasaha, chamasam. So do this. Chamasam. Purushaha, urusham. Shikshakaha, shikshakam. Vrikshaha, vriksham. Margaha, margam. Naraha, naram. Balakaha, balakam. Janaha, janam. Chhatraha, chhatram. Apanaha, apannam. Deshaha, desham. Uttamam. So I hope you've got some practice, and now you can also try probably making a sentence by yourself. Now one request is that we've been looking at words, we've been doing sentences in our sessions, I've been giving you some practice, but finally it will only work for you when you're able to apply it independently in your daily context. So what I would really suggest is that once we have done a particular lesson, like maybe we've learned the second case for the masculine words, I would suggest you put a pause button here and then you just try and apply it in whichever context you are in. Alright. Now supposing you don't have a vocabulary, you don't know what the word is. So supposing you say chair, you just know chair. So like we had done in one of our previous sessions, I had half jokingly tried to Sanskritize English. What you can also do is say chair, chairam. Alright, just for the fun of it, because what it would allow you to do is to have a confidence about applying the declension, the particular vibhakti to whatever word that you are, to whatever word you're using in a sentence, in the right place of course. So now moving on, we have the word in the feminine, so sthalika becomes sthalikam pashyami. Sthalika, sthalikam pashyami. Mala, malam pashyami. Mala, malam pashyami. Uttamam. Mahila, mahilam pashyami. Balika, balikam pashyami. Great. Now let's use it. Use the E, the long E, and see what happens to that. So can you do you have any guesses what would happen there? So if I had the word kupi and I would say kupim pashyami. Great. Kupi, kupim. So you're getting a hang of it. We just have to add the at the end. Kupi, kupim. Lekhani, lekhanim pashyami. Kim pashyami? Lekhanim pashyami. Duravani. So Duravani, Duravanim. Uttamam. So now let's do some practice on that. So we have the word in the feminine akara ending here. So sthalika, sthalikam. Mala, malam. Now please do this action because this will teach your body that the object case will get the associated with the action, with the object case. Okay. So mala, malam. Mahila, mahilam. Mahilam. Shikshika, shikshikam. Petika, petikam. Churika, churikam. Balika, balikam. Vatika, vatikam. Patashala, patashalam. Chhatra, chhatram. Kunchika, kunchikam. Lata, latam. Uttamam. Moving on to the E, the long E. So we have kupi, kupim. Duravani, duravanim. Nari, narim. Lekhani, lekhanim. Ankani, ankanim. Marjani, marjanim. Nartaki, dancer, nartakim. Putri, putrim. Patni, patnim. Sahodari, sahodarim. Droni, dronim. Nadi, nadim. Uttamam. Alright, so we've looked at the masculine and the feminine words and we've seen the what happens in the accusative case. Next we are going to look at the neuter. So what is interesting you'll see is that if you have the neuter word like penakam, which means a soap, and why is a soap a penakam? Because penam karoti. Pena means foam. So it's a foam maker and therefore it is penakam. And in the first person also it is, or sorry, in the first case or the nominative subject case, it is penakam as we have seen with neuter words. So penakam asti, penakam pashyami. Pushpam asti. Pushpam pashyami. New word. Kankatam. Kankatam asti. Kankatam pashyami. Kim pashyami? Kankatam pashyami. You remember the penakam we had seen the soap? So this is another new vocabulary for you. So what is this? This is a toothpaste. So it makes foam in the teeth. What is the word for tooth? Danta. So this would be a danta penakam. Danta penakam asti. Danta penakam pashyami. Kim pashyami? Danta penakam pashyami. So what we find in the neuter is that the subject, the first case, and the object or the second case are the same, retain the same form. So let's do a little exercise. It will be very easy for you. So phalam, phalam. Pushpam, pushpam. Mitram, mitram. Chitram, chitram. Chalana chitram, chalana chitram. Now what you just need to notice is that when you're doing it, do a different body language for each of them. So when you say chalana chitram asti, and then chalana chitram pashyami. Patram, patram. Vastram, vastram. Griham, griham. Nagaram, nagaram. Penakam, penakam. Vyajanam, the fan, vyajanam. Dwaram, dwaram. Uttamam. Now moving on, we'll try and use the second case in the using the word kripaya. So for example, we have when you want to request somebody for something, then you would say kripaya chashakam dadatu. And then I've just taught you a new word here, avashyam. Avashyam means yes indeed. Alright, avashyam dadami. Definitely I will give. Kripaya swikarotu is another way of saying please accept something. So if I want to say kripaya, please accept the flower, I will say kripaya pushpam swikarotu. Let's make it more elegant. Pushpam swikarotu. Or, and then the answer would be aham pushpam swikaromi. Uttamam. So I'd like to demonstrate this with for you with a dialogue with Piyush again. So listen carefully to how the dialogue unfolds and how the second case is used in that context.
Namo Namaha.
Namo Namaha. Sarvam Kushalam Kim?
Sarvam Kusalam.
So, Adya Vayam Dvitiya Vibhaktim Pathayamaha. Astu. So, we are going to do this dialogue between us using this Kripaya, Dadatu, Swikarotu, etc. So, Piyushaha. Wait. Piyushaha Kripaya Chashakam Dadatu.
Chasakam swikarotu.
Aham chashakam swikaromi. Kripaya sthalikam dadatu.
Aham dadami avasyameva. Sthalikam swikarotu.
Aham sthalikam swikaromi. Kripaya lekhanim dadatu.
Lekhanim swikarotu.
Aham lekhanim swikaromi. Kripaya karavyajanam dadatu.
Karavajanam swikarotu.
Aham karavyajanam swikaromi. It's very hot here right now, so karavyajanam swikaromi. Kripaya malam dadatu.
Malam swikarotu.
Aham malam swikaromi. Now I have a shop out here. It's his turn to ask me whatever he wants from here.
Kripaya chasakam dadatu.
Aham chashakam dadami.
Aham api chasakam swikaromi.
Uttamam.
Kripaya sthalikam dadatu.
Aham sthalikam dadami.
Aham sthalikam swikaromi.
Uttamam.
Kripaya duravanim dadatu.
Aham duravanim na dadami.
Kripaya lekhanim dadatu.
Nahi, aham duravanim api dadami.
Aham duravanim api swikaromi. Kripaya mama karavyajanam dadatu.
Aham Bhavatah karavyajanam dadami. Swikarotu.
Aham swikaromi karavyajanam.
Uttamam. Astu. So I think you've got a fair idea now of how the second case can be used in requesting for something as well as when you're giving something. So the object that you're giving will be in the second case and not the person who's receiving. So for example, if I say Piyushaha or Chhatraha asti, if I say Aham Chhatram dadami, it would mean that I am giving the student to someone, but which is not what you want to say. What you want to say is that I am giving the pen, which is lekhani, to the student. So Aham lekhanim dadami. We have not yet seen the person who is receiving, what declension that person will get, but we'll come to it slowly. For now, it is enough for you to know that the object that is being given will be in the second case. Astu. Dhanyavadaha.
Dhanyavadaha.
So, if you want to just quickly look at the screen and see how that works once. So, kripaya, whatever in the second case, dadatu. Okay. And then swikarotu will also get the same form. Now, moving on. Another place where this question is used, or rather the second case is used, is when you're asking the question to where, to which place are you going. That also gets this, the second case. So, if I have the word, if I say for example that aham Dehlim gachami, kutra gachati, if somebody asks me bhavati kutra gachati, I would say aham Dehlim gachami, or Pondicherim gachami, or London nagaram gachami, or France desham gachami. So if you have a word that you're not so sure how the ending would be, you can either add deshaha, so France deshaha, which is a known word or it has a known ending. So it becomes France desham gachami, or Paris, so Paris nagaram gachami, or Nagpuram, Nagapura, the town, you can say Nagapuram gachami. With Indian words, it's normally not a problem. It's when you have more of these foreign words that we are not so sure how they would terminate, it becomes helpful to add these extra words there. So, I can do a small demo again for you, just a short one with Piyush, where I'll ask him where he's going and also places of daily movement. So, Piyusha, namaste.
Namaste.
So, Bhavan adya kutra kutra gachati.
Aham adya udyanam gachami.
Uttamam.
Kidanganam gachami.
Uttamam.
Chhatravasam gachami.
So, Chhatravasaha is hostel. So, Chhatravasaha will become Chhatravasam. Kridanganam will be to the playground. Anyat.
Karyalayam gachami.
That's an important word. Karyalayaha is the office. So, to the office will be Karyalayam. Uttamam. Astu. Shubham astu.
Shubham.
Okay, so you've got a hang of this. So, just remember that the destination you're going to always has to get the second verb, second case. The demonstration that we just did, Bhavan or Bhavati, Kutra gachati, and you can answer Aham griham mandiram aparnam kridanganam karyalayam cha gachami. If you're doing a whole tour and coming back, so you can say ta 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 cha gachami. Alright. So let's move on and just revise what we have seen. So Purushaha becomes Purusham in the masculine. In the neuter, Phalam becomes stays Phalam. So you can see that I have mentioned it in the down there as a point to be noted, that first and second cases are the same for the neuter. For the feminine, we have Mahila, Mahilam, Nari, Narim. Now let's do a little practice, some exercises, because it's good to just go through it by yourself and see how much you have been able to assimilate what has been taught. So I've just got a few, like a fill in the blanks here. So Bhavati Vishayaha pathatu. Vishayah meaning subject. So, bhavati vishayam pathatu, which means please study the subject. Very good. Next, chhatraha prashnaha prichanti, which means to ask. So, what will it be? Chhatraha prashnam prichanti. Uttamam. Moving on, te, which means they, patrika pathanti. They read the newspaper or the magazine. So, what would it be? Te patrikam pathanti. Uttamam. Next one, saha devi namati. Do it. Saha devim namati. Uttamam. Next, vayam sanskritam pathamaha. And what happens to that? It stays the same. So, vayam sanskritam pathamaha. Now, I thought we'll also naturally do the pronouns and see what transformations they undergo in the second case. So, we have aham. Aham asmi. Now, if somebody is watching me, so I become the object of their observation. So, it becomes saha mam pashyati. Saha mam pashyati. Saha kim karoti? Saha mam pashyati. If I say that person is talking to me, so it becomes saha mam vadati. Uttamam. Saha mam vadati. Moving on, twam becomes twam. So, saha twam pashyati. Saha twam pashyati. For the respect, for masculine, bhavan asti, aham bhavantam pashyami. Aham bhavantam pashyami. Feminine, bhavati asti, aham bhavatim pashyami. Aham bhavatim pashyami. Now, let's look at the second case for pronouns in the masculine and feminine, but for the third person. So, we have saha purushaha, aham tam pashyami. Aham tam pashyami. The question is kam pashyati, kam pashyami. If I am asking myself, whom am I seeing? Kam pashyami, tam pashyami. And if he is near, eshaha purushaha, etam pashyami. Etam pashyami. Now, going on to the feminine, we have sa mahila asti, aham tam pashyami. Aham tam pashyami. And the question is kam pashyami, kam pashyami. And the answer, tam pashyami. And we also know that if you want to join the noun along with the pronoun, it will be tam mahilam pashyami. And if she was near, then etam pashyami or etam mahilam pashyami. Got that? So, saha becomes tam, sa becomes tam. So, if you exaggerate your mouth when you are pronouncing it, it will be easier for your system to recognize the difference between the two. Now, moving on to the neuter. So, we see a very interesting thing here, as we have seen in the earlier cases as well. There is no difference in the way it is said in the first case as well as in the second case. So, if I say tat yanam asti, in the second case it will be tat yanam pashyami. Tat yanam pashyami. And the question is, kim yanam pashyami? Kim yanam pashyami? Answer, tat yanam pashyami. So, while it is using the word tat, one has to pay attention and recognize the fact that tat yanam asti, the tat represents the subject case or the nominative first case. And when I am saying tam or tat yanam pashyami, it is in the in the object case, where it is the dvitiya vibhakti or the accusative. So then I am saying tat yanam pashyami. That yanam is the object of my seeing. So kim yanam, tat yanam pashyami. Similarly, if I say etat vastram asti, aham etat vastram pashyami. Aham etat vastram pashyami. Kim vastram pashyami? Etat vastram pashyami. So I hope you've understood how the third person pronouns work in the second case. Okay, so quickly a small exercise there. Kripaya aham pashyatu will be kripaya mam pashyatu. Next, so please see me. Next, janakaha ahvayati, to call. Janakaha tvam ahvayati will become Janakaha tvam ahvayati. So father is calling you, informal. Next, the boy is calling him, the boy is talking to him. Balakaha saha vadati will become Balakaha tam vadati. Balakaha tam vadati. And if it's a respect form, it will be Balakaha bhavantam vadati. Balakaha bhavantam vadati. In the case of the feminine, vayam sa pashyamaha. It would be vayam tam pashyamaha. Very good. And then if you have the respect form, it will be vayam bhavatim pashyamaha. Vayam kim kurma? Vayam bhavatim pashyamaha. And then we have the another one, which is amba tat phalam krinati. She is buying. Krinati means to buy. So amba kim karoti? Amba tat phalam. It stays the same. Krinati. Alright. So what we'll do is we'll just do a quick revision of a few verbs and that we had studied in the present, imperative, future and the past. But more importantly, we are going to focus on how they are used in the case of the second case. So here we have bhavati, be or bhavatu. In the future we had bhavishyati, and in the past abhavat, it was. Okay. Next. So when we use bhavati, it's always in the first case generally. So karyam bhavati or karyakramaha bhavishyati, there will be a program tomorrow, or bhojanam abhavat, food is over. So it takes the subject case with it. Now let's look at the second verb, which is nayati or nayatu, to take. So take, please take nayatu. And as we have seen, it is a particular verb that has an object, that comes along with an object, and so you can say chashakaha asti, chashakam nayatu. Kim nayatu? Chashakam nayatu. Would you like to use chamasaha? Chamasam nayatu. Uttamam. Moving on, pashyati, we have already looked at it in various phases, but just for a practice, kim pashyatu? Pushpam pashyatu. Very good. Moving on, patati. Patati means to fall. So fall also is an intransitive verb, which means that it doesn't take an object. So it keeps the subject case. So supposing I had to just say the glass falls. Chashakaha patati. Chashakaha patati. So it stays in the first case. Moving on, milati. Milati means to meet. So to meet is a transitive verb, which means that it takes an object with it. So whom do you meet? Kam milati, and you can say mitram milati, which means you meet your friend. Mitram milati, or father, meet your father. So janakam milati, or I meet my sister. Aham sahodarim milami. And if I want to say I meet my sister, aham mamma sahodarim milami. Got that? And the last one in this, tyajati, to leave. So kim tyajati? Let's say durgunam, bad habits, or durabhyasaha, bad habit would be durabhyasam tyajati. Kim tyajati? Durabhyasam tyajati. Next, karoti. Karoti is one great one that takes a lot of the second case. Kim karoti. What all do you do? Aham kridam karomi, aham pathanam karomi, aham, it can be just so many things in there. Khadati. Kim khadati? Tell me what all you eat. So, supposing you say aham puri. So, puri kam khadami. Or if you say biryani, aham biryanim khadami. Or if you say pizza, it will be aham pizzam khadami. Not the healthiest, but still it is part of our contemporary practices today. Next, janati. Another word that takes, another verb that takes on the object case. So, what all do you know? So, supposing I ask you, what are the languages you know? Kam bhasham janati? And the answer would be, aham sanskritam janami. English, aham anglam janami. Aham hindim janami. So, you can say, aham anglam janami, aham sanskritam api janami, aham hindim api janami. If you want to combine all of them, you can say, aham sanskritam anglam hindim cha janami. Uttamam. Got a hang of it? Next, shrunoti. Kim shrunoti? What do you hear? Aham Gita pravachanam shrunomi, aham sangeetam shrunomi, aham geetam, sangeetam, bhashanam cha shrunomi, cha shrunomi. Uttamam. With dadati, we had a demonstration with Piyush and you've seen how it works. And finally with preshayati. Kim preshayati? What do you send? A letter is a patram. So, aham patram preshayami. I send a writing. Okay, let's do this. I send an email. So, there we have a word for email today, which is vidyut patram. Okay, the electronic. So, vidyut patram. So, would you want to say that? Kim preshayati? Aham vidyut patram preshayami. Uttamam. So, moving on, I'll just go on to a shloka where we can apply this. And this is a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. It says, here Krishna is saying, in the 9th chapter, he is saying that whatever you give me, when you give it to me with a lot of sincerity, I will accept it. So, it can be a leaf, it can be a flower, it can be a fruit, it can just be water. But if you give it to me with devotion, everything is acceptable to me. So, it says, patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tad aham becomes tadaham bhakti upahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha, which means that I'll say it word by word. So, patram leaf, pushpam flower, phalam fruit, toyam water, yaha me with the sandhi becomes yo me, bhaktya. So, one who bhaktya with devotion, prayachati gives me, tat aham that I, bhakti upahritam. So, full of devotion, ashnami I accept it, prayatatmanaha one who is trying very hard to surrender. I will take whatever that person gives with devotion. Okay, so I'll sing this out for you and I want you to repeat after me and then we'll do it together. But sorry, just before we go on, I'll just read out the translation once for you. So, he who offers to me with devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, a cup of water, that offering of love from the striving soul is acceptable to me. And I'll do this with a tune now for you. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachate tadaham bhaktyupahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha. Uttamam. Can we say that together once? Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktyupahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha. We now have a very famous quote on the Bhagavad Gita by a famous American writer, philosopher and transcendentalist, Ralph Waldo Emerson. And he has this to say of the Gita. He says, I owed my friend and I owed a magnificent day to the Bhagavad Gita. It was the first of books. It was as if an empire spake to us. Nothing small or unworthy, but large, serene, consistent. The voice of an old intelligence, which in another age and climate had pondered and thus disposed of the same questions which exercise us. So, dhanyavadaha.